Walk into any electronics store right now. You'll see a wall of OLED TVs from Sony, LG, Panasonic, and Philips. Priced anywhere from $1,500 to $4,000. Pick the most expensive one. Pick the cheapest. Now flip them around and look behind the screen. Almost every single one of those panels came out of the same factory, in the same Korean town, made by the same single company. The brands are different. The pixels are identical. The glass is identical. The wiring boards are identical. Look closer. The brand is what changes. The Korean glass underneath is what doesn't. And the gap between what you pay and what's actually inside is the reason why. The reason you haven't noticed is that the panels travel under different stickers. Sony OLED sit on the Sony display. LG sits on the LG display. Best Buy splits them by aisle. Each box carries different colors, different remotes, different feature lists. You compare them like they are different products. The Sony has a chip called Cognitive Processor XR. The LG has Alpha 11. Panasonic ships with a factory Kalman calibration done in Osaka. Inside the marketing, those are three different products. But the part you actually look at, the layer of organic light-emitting molecules turning electrical current into the picture on your wall, that came off the same machine. About 90% of the time. The factory is in a town called Paju, about an hour northwest of Seoul, almost on the North Korean border. It belongs to a company called LG Display, not LG Electronics, the one that sells the TVs in stores, but a separate corporate sibling. LG Display makes the screens. LG Electronics, Sony, Panasonic, Philips, and Hisense all buy from them. For about 15 years until 2022, LG Display was the only company on Earth that could make a large format OLED panel that didn't burn out within a few thousand hours of viewing. That is the unstated reality behind every premium TV in the Western world. One Korean fab, one supplier, one panel. But here's where it gets interesting. Samsung tried to break the monopoly. Samsung, the largest electronics company in Korea, watched its arch-rival LG corner a market it desperately wanted. So in 2013, Samsung shipped its own OLED TVs and immediately stopped. The panels burned in. Some sets degraded visibly within a year. The yield off the production line was so low that Samsung lost money on every unit. Samsung quietly shut down its OLED TV factory and spent the next 9 years buying LCD panels from its competitors while it engineered a workaround. The largest electronics company in the world's largest electronics economy could not break LG Display. That is how locked the supply chain became. Here is why nobody else could catch up. The technique LG Display uses is called WRGB OLED, a layered structure with white pixels under colored filters, patented in the late 90s and refined through 20 years of tuning. The organic molecules inside the panel degrade if exposed to oxygen or moisture for seconds during assembly. The deposition chambers at Paju have to maintain a vacuum tighter than a semiconductor fab. Building a single chamber costs hundreds of millions of dollars. LG started in 1996. By the time anyone else was ready to try, the patents, the suppliers, the trained line workers, and the equipment vendors were all locked up. One company built a moat made of decades. So what are you actually paying extra for on a Sony or Panasonic OLED? Not the OLED. You are paying for the metal box, the speakers, the processor chip that handles image and motion scaling, the firmware menus, the remote, and the brand sticker. Sony's chip is genuinely good. Sony engineers tune the panel's drive curves to a different aesthetic. Slightly warmer, slightly slower in motion, calibrated to Hollywood mastering monitors. That tuning is real work. It costs Sony real money, but it is tuning, not the panel. The panel underneath is the same Korean glass, driving the same Korean pixels at the same Korean refresh rates. The $4,000 TV and the $1,500 TV share the same substrate. For most of the past decade, this monopoly meant LG Display set the price floor for premium TVs. Buyers like Sony, Panasonic, and Philips could negotiate volume discounts, but they could not shop elsewhere. A mid-range OLED panel ran about $600 at wholesale. The top-of-stack panel ran $1,200. Whatever LG Display charged, that was the wholesale floor for the entire premium category. Sony's research engineers calculated that if a competitor opened a second OLED fab tomorrow, the industry's panel cost would drop by about 30% within 2 years. Nobody did it. Not Samsung, not Japan Display, not BOE in China. The capital cost was too high. The patents were too tight. The market just paid. Samsung finally cracked the monopoly in 2022, but only sideways. They use a different technology called QD-OLED, quantum dot color conversion on top of a blue OLED layer that Samsung manufactures itself. It works. It ships in their flagship TVs and in the Sony A95 letter, and it is a real competitor with measurably better color volume. But Samsung's fab produces a fraction of the volume LG Display does. For almost every other OLED TV, at almost every price tier in almost every electronics store today, the answer is still Paju. One factory, one panel. The brand on the box is a wrapper around a single Korean supplier. The brand itself does not make and cannot replace. Tomorrow or next month or 2 years from now, you will walk past a wall of OLED TVs and try to choose between Sony, LG, Panasonic, and Philips. Remember that the layer of glass behind those 4 logos made the same journey. It was deposited in a vacuum chamber in Paju. It was cut to size on the same line. It was tested by the same Korean technicians under the same lighting. It rode the same boat across the same ocean. Somewhere in a container yard in California or Rotterdam, it split into 4 boxes. One for Sony, one for LG, one for Panasonic, one for Philips. Each company welded its own metal frame around it, soldered its own logic board to it, wrote its own firmware on top of it, and put its own logo above it. And then each of them sent you their own price tag, often separated by $2,500 on the shelf. The picture is the same. The packaging is what you are paying for. The remote is what you are paying for. The brand sticker is what you are paying for. The glass underneath is the constant, and the constant is Paju. You get to decide which version of the packaging, which version of the firmware, and which version of the brand sticker was actually worth the difference to you this time around. That's one of them. There is a whole channel of stories like it. The reasons behind the everyday things you have never questioned. Subscribe so the next one finds you tomorrow.